This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
Good morning. Hello, this is Scott Wells for the magicwordpodcast.com. It is early in the morning again as I get ready to depart on my magic carpet. That is Southwest Airlines, going this time from Houston to Charlotte, North Carolina by way of Nashville. And this is a little bit different as far as my connections go as well, because I'm flying out of Intercontinental rather than Hobby, which doesn't mean much to you guys, but it does to me because there's no Dunkin' Donuts here. It's in the wrong terminal. I'm flying out of Terminal A and it's over in E, whereas Hobby is really all just one terminal and easier to get around, and plus they've got Dunkin'. Boo-hoo, sorry, but maybe I'll catch something once I get over to Nashville for my layover, where I'm going to be meeting with Charlie Randall, who's going to be my roommate this weekend as I go to TRICS convention. That's the TRICS, which means the Tri-Cs, or the 3 Cs, which is the Carolina Close-Up Convention. Get it? Yeah, sure you do. I'm not going to try to belabor that point all weekend, but I'm sure that's going to be brought up by Scott Robinson, who's the organizer, as well as others. I'm looking forward to this, as I always do. This is my third time of attending, and I'm coming this year because I won a free registration. I got the golden ticket last year. Whenever I bought a brick of playing cards, there were apparently 2 different golden tickets put into the brick of cards, and I happened to buy the one that had a free pass. So how about that? Pretty darn cool. Anyhow, guys, I don't remember the last time I won anything, actually, except the hearts and minds of you listeners, which I thank very much for coming back and listening every week. We're going to be having a little bit of an episodic change this week. This particular episode is going to be days 1 and 2, because by the time I get there and we get checked in, the first activity is not until 7 p.m. And then I think it's the first lecture, and then there may be another one later, perhaps a show, but there's not a lot going on compared to the full day we'll be getting tomorrow. So I'm going to give a report for days 1 and 2 tomorrow, and that'll be in episode 799. That's right. So guess what episode it's going to be then that'll release tomorrow? That's right, 801. Yeah, I'm going to skip number 800 and post that next week, which is going to be episode 800, which will be featuring a legendary magician. If you subscribe to the pod letter, you know who that's going to be. It's someone I spoke with earlier this year and have kind of been keeping under wraps and in the can until this particular milestone episode, which will be coming out again next Thursday. Well, again, the Tri-Cs, or the TRICS convention, is going to be featuring, again, just a stellar lineup. The guest of honor this year is Shawn Farquhar. I know I'm going to have Danny Garcia there, which is kind of funny because he was from Houston, as I was from Houston. I say was because now I'm living in Georgetown, Texas, which is just north of Austin, Texas. And then I'm going to be having John Armstrong, and I don't remember who all else. It's just going to be another great convention, chock full of top talent, close-up guys in particular, and it should be a lot of fun. And I hope to get a chance to chat with many of those in an extended episode that you'll be hearing in some upcoming podcast in the future. Well, enough for me from right now. I'm going to go ahead to the gate. I got here just a little bit late. Typically, I get here at least an hour and a half or so before. Now it's less than an hour before my flight departs, so I'm going to head on over towards the gate. I would sure like to be drinking a cup of hot black coffee, and also to be having a donut or two, but it'll have to wait until a little bit later, I guess. Anyhow, it's always great to get together with friends whenever, and I say almost family because they are, when I go to these conventions. This will be my 12th and last convention of the year. I'm going to start to scale back next year, and although I would love to attend double that number next year, I just have some other obligations that are going to be happening next year and prevent me from attending as many as I am this year. So I may have to cut back to maybe 5 or 6 instead of the dozen or so I'm doing this year. Anyhow, I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to the different convention reports that I have been posting. I have enjoyed attending these and providing those reports to you. It's been a lot of fun to chat with all these friends and, as I said, family, and to give that content then to you guys. I get kind of mixed reports. I have a lot of people who say they like the convention reports, and others say that they like the individual episodes. And most people, though, say, I just like it all. So to each and every one of you, I thank you very much. So until I get back over on the other side and through Nashville over to Charlotte in North Carolina, this is Scotty out. Well, we have arrived. We are here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and some other people are just starting to come in, and I've already got my registration badge, and everything is set up for the registrants, and one of the people I've run into who's helping registration is Tiffany Allen. Hey there, Tiffany.
Hey, Scott.
Awfully good to see you, and I'm surprised to see you here because that Boris is one of the featured guests at the Daytona. Going on right now as we speak.
Yep.
That's just starting on Thursday, too, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's flying in today. So we did double duty this time. I'm on the organizing board at TRICS, so kind of required to be here, and this is the convention we met at. So we are teasing him relentlessly about missing TRICS.
So did you fly in here and then he drove down, or did you fly separately from Paris?
No, we flew separately. I flew out yesterday, and he flew out today. So he dropped me off at the airport, and I flew in, and he flew out today. So completely separate.
Once these conventions are over, are you going to be meeting up someplace like Jacksonville, like partway between? Or?
Yeah, we're actually going to meet up in St. Pete.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he's driving over there. My dad has a condo, so we're going to hang out there for a few days, and then we fly up to Kentucky for a convention we're doing together.
Which one in Kentucky? That's not the unconventional convention, is it?
No, it's not. It's technically in Indiana, but we're flying into Louisville. It's called Magic and Storytelling. It's a new convention. It's a magic and storytelling convention.
Okay, kind of like Poe's Magic Symposium, I guess.
Yep, in the same vein, absolutely. Okay. And we have a couple of the same people. It's put on by Arcane Relics, and I'll be lecturing and performing.
Joe Daniels?
Yep, Joe Daniels, Chris Sipes, all those guys, and it'll be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
So I notice that you're still going by Allen. I see by your name tag again also, rather than Wild, or are you going to keep it that?
Yeah, no, I am going to rebrand. I'm just trying to find the right time to rebrand. I've got a couple things in the works, and I kind of want to wait to see if those pan out or not. And once I figure that out, I'm going to rebrand to Tiffany Sauvage.
So I like that.
Thank you.
So, although people will see that and think it says Savage.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't really have a problem with that. I think it goes with my character a little bit.
I can see that. I can see that. By the way, for those who are listening and wondering, who is she talking about, Boris, and what is all this? She and Boris Wilde are husband and wife. So, and you had met here in Charlotte.
We did.
At TRICS, at this convention.
Yeah, at this very convention. He was one of our headliners, and we met, fell in love, and very rom-com-esque, which is not my style, but is very much his.
That is funny. So you were living then in Paris. You moved your apartment here or whatever?
Yeah, well, I've still got a storage unit here with all my books, but, two magicians moving into one place where there's a lot of doubles of books and stuff. Yes, but I love living over there. I've performed over there a few times. It's very different.
In English?
Yeah, I perform in English, but Boris translates for me real time. Okay. So it's been interesting. There have been a couple challenges there, trying to figure out the timing and everything for certain pauses so he can translate, but also to make sure the right message gets across to the audience and you still hit those laugh lines and everything.
Have you been at Double Fond?
Yes, he has a monthly show there. So,
I know Boris says, but I'm asking, have you performed
have I performed there? No, not yet. Maybe in the future. My French is nowhere near fluent yet.
But you do speak French.
I understand it a lot better.
It's because immersion, I guess, basically.
Very much so. And I start French classes the day after I land. So the government actually pays for you to take French classes.
Really?
Yeah, if you have a long stay visa. So I finally got a spot in those. So I'll be starting that. And hopefully that will help my magic. So by the end of next year, I'm hoping to do my entire set fully in French. And
you have been meeting some of the other local Parisian magicians, too?
Yes, very much so. I get to hang out with Alexandre Duvivier a couple times a month. And we have a great time. And it's funny, a lot of times we end up talking about stuff besides magic. Yeah. Well, because I know he speaks only French. He doesn't speak English very well at all. Alexandre Duvivier. Oh, Alexandra. Yeah. I was thinking of her father. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. And what about Babel? You ever see him now? No, I haven't. Okay. But we do hang out with a lot of French magicians because two magicians living together. Of course you are. Of course you are. We just hang out with all magicians. But I think also that you're traveling around also and kind of. Yeah.
performing and lecturing?
Yes, I haven't lectured in France yet, or Europe yet, but I have performed in Belgium, and I love Belgium. It's beautiful.
It's a very pretty country.
It is, and it's funny living in Europe. Like in the States, you drive 3 hours, you're still in the same state, but in Europe, you drive 3 hours, you're in a different country.
Yeah, I understand. I was just in Germany, and I lectured in Munich and in Berlin, and then drove back down to Bavaria after that. I mean, everything's like within a day's drive. I mean, where we go.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal, and their public transit is wonderful, and that took a little bit of getting used to because I'm from a very small town.
I heard you say to somebody a little bit earlier that the alcohol content in wine in Paris or in France is higher than the U.S.?
It feels that way, at least.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere, or maybe it's just the wine that I like to drink, but I couldn't figure out why they served wine in such small glasses. Oh. And then after 2 smaller glasses, I was feeling it, and I can hold my wine. So I was a little confused, but I love it. I adore France.
So you're looking forward to this convention?
I always look forward to TRICS. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's like coming to a family reunion.
Yep.
And, weeks leading up to it, you're all messaging each other. Actually, just on Facebook a minute ago, Michel Huat, or Huat, I can never say his name right. Huat. He's told me a million times.
It's like Huat. I think it's like Huat. Yeah.
Huat?
Or it's like hot. It's what?
Yeah.
He's hot.
He'll appreciate if I call him Michel Hot. So just get me on record saying that. But he commented, he was like, "Oh, I'm jealous." And I was like, "Just fly down." And he said, "Well, I have 3 shows this weekend, but if I didn't, I think I would." And he was on the bill last year.
How many people were registered? Do you have an idea?
I don't know, because I want to say 200. I have no idea if that's right.
Because they can only hold how many in the room there?
It changes, honestly. I'm not totally sure. I've given up doing chair duty.
I'll ask Scott.
I was going to say, that's a Scott question.
Yeah, a Scott Robinson question, right?
The other Scott. Too many Scotts.
No, there's never too many Scotts. Tiffany, thanks very much, and enjoy the convention. Awesome, good talking to you. Congratulations on all your endeavors.
Thank you.
That was Tiffany Savage, correct?
Yes, Savage.
I kind of like that.
I do too.
The gravity girl. Anti-gravity. There we go.
The Georgia Wonder.
But yes, it's a wonder. This is Scotty Allen. So, one of the people who is not only, a person who is a guest of honor. I was going to say not only one of the performers but a lecturer, but it is with me right now. And it's not Billy Hsueh, although he's with me. Hey there, Billy.
Hello.
Just kind of bait and switch. I did there.
It was good. I like that. It was very
Shawn Farquhar. Hey, Shawn.
Hey, nice to see you, Scott.
So, you're the guest of honor here this year.
I'm kind of stoked by that.
Okay.
Way beyond.
This is kind of like when at 4F. I mean, you were the guest.
That was 2014. That's almost a decade ago.
Golly,
isn't that
time
crazy?
Flies.
Seems like yesterday, and yet it was 2014.
Yeah.
So 9 years ago. And so it's been 9 years since I could be the guest of honor anywhere else. Nobody's recognized my talent since that.
Until now. So you and Billy had just flew in then from Vancouver?
We flew in night before last. We did a corporate for a client here in North Carolina last night, and then jumped from the other side of town over to here for today.
Okay.
Here for 3 days, going to enjoy the convention. Then we're going to Chicago. We're going to see our friend Lucy Darling. Got to see Carissa doing Citra Zinzani.
Yeah, that's right, Zinzani.
TZ is a big thing in Billy and I's life. We worked in the circus for Bacio Rosso and Speed Lieutenant.
Both of you guys did?
Yeah.
Yep.
Both got to be the magicians in the show. And Billy started, he started by, got hired to be the magician, and he always wanted to run away to the circus, so he started in the restaurant, then became the floor manager, then ran all the waiters. And then when I had to leave the tour and go back out on the road, they started looking for a magician. I said, Billy can do it. Billy knows the entire show. And the artistic guy said, well, okay, let's take a look. Scott had him do the show one night, but yep, Billy's the new magician. And so Billy ran it to the end.
It was the easiest transition ever.
Yeah, it was so good. I left all the props. He's like, I got the show down. It's like already done.
And how much longer did that run?
Uniquely his own.
That ran about 4
months?
Yeah, about 4 months.
4 months? So we did about 2 each? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good.
How fun. Did anything take its place?
After that, they closed down the show. And then they ran out of some money. They tried to open it again, but the producer, with all the money, died. And so the show never remounted.
So while you're in Chicago, you're going to be going by the Magic Lounge, I guess?
Yeah, we're going to check out the Magic Lounge for a night. I'm doing a lecture at the, what's it called? Sideshow Gelato. Yeah, it's got like 50 to 70 people already registered for the lecture, so I'm kind of excited by that.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that because it just occurred to me. I just moved to the Austin area in Georgetown, and I'm unpacking boxes. And one of the boxes I unpacked was a beautiful carved Inuit cigar box that had salmon that you gave me many years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's my favorite gift to give. And I'm always thrilled when people still have the boxes.
I still have the box. How many years ago? That had to be 20 years
20 years ago. Todd Onosaka, when I went to visit him in Japan, he dug through in his little magic land and pulled the box out. And he showed all the cards that he puts inside of it now. Closed. I was like, it was, first, the food is excellent. Second, the box is really cool, right?
Yeah, it really is. I can't believe it. I've kept it all these years.
I'm honored that you did. It's very cool.
Well, you mean a lot to me. And Billy, you mean a lot also. And also to other magicians around the world, because you've been touring as this last year's president.
Yep.
How many miles do you think you put on the airplane, and where did you travel?
Oh, too many miles. I don't
Circled the earth a couple of times. Huh?
Probably a couple of times, but the furthest way I went was, I think, Taiwan, yeah. So I did a tour in Europe, and then went to Taiwan.
Barcelona's pretty far.
Barcelona's pretty far, but I think Taiwan's the furthest.
Yeah, England. You went everywhere.
I went everywhere.
Yeah.
What was the most exciting or thing? It's a memorable.
Taiwan. I've always wanted to perform there in my home country, so it was amazing to attend the convention.
Were you born there?
I was born there, yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
You're born in Canada.
No, I was born in Taiwan. Moved to Canada when I was 5. So I've always wanted to perform there, and I finally got to go to the convention there and see so many young, amazing magicians.
Mm-hmm. Young, that's the point. Young.
Yeah, I was on the older side of
Billy was
the
on
young.
the older side.
You were the old.
I was the grandfather.
Yeah.
Literally.
How funny.
They were like 20, 25 years of age, about 50-50 men and women, and they were all really phenomenal. It was
an incredible experience.
Wow. Well, I may have a chance to go to Hong Kong as Santa Claus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a big gig over there.
Apparently it is.
There's a lot. Albert Tam puts together a big group of them, too.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're the one? Because I was talking to Mark Whitehouse. He's the one who's kind of putting this thing together, and I'm the standby right now.
Oh, cool. Hong Kong at Christmas time is an amazing time there. It's there.
Never been to Hong Kong, so it's a great place.
It has a huge British influence.
That's what I heard.
There are 280 McDonald's in Hong Kong. They're on
So
about
people
every
are fat
second
there.
corner. Yeah, it's amazing. The food is amazing. The nightlife is incredible. Mong Kok, the shopping district, night market is open every night where you can buy anything you've ever dreamed of for about 16th of the price.
Wow.
The people are great. I've had all my suits made in Hong Kong. I go to the same place.
Yeah.
It's funny. I go to a place called Raja Tailors. Like, sounds like it would be Indian, but the guy who owns it's Indian, and they're all Shanghainese tailors. Johnny Thompson had his last 2 tuxedos made there. Danny Sylvester did.
Too.
About a 16th of the price anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's cheaper for me to fly from Vancouver to Hong Kong, spend 3 nights in a hotel in Hong Kong, have my suits made, and come back than it is to buy a suit in Vancouver.
I remember at one MASH episode when, it wasn't Hawkeye, but it was the other guy. I went in and got his suit made. He was tailored. And
BJ Honeycutt.
BJ, yeah. and at the end, he showed it, and it was a chalk stripe, but it was going horizontal instead of vertical. But it fit perfect.
My first time I was walking down the streets of Hong Kong, and I saw this store, and it said, Raja Taylor, whatever. And the guy said, did you want to buy a suit? And I had a suit bag over because I was going to do a TV show. And I said, I already have a suit. You can see. And he goes, yeah, but I can make it better. So I had a few minutes to kill. I went in, and I described what I want. And he didn't take my suit out of the bag. He said, what color do you want? I said, purple. He says, maybe my English isn't so good. And he pulled out, he says, this is purple. I said, yeah, that's what I want. Opened my suit bag and showed him. He goes, oh, this is terrible quality. I can do much better than that. And he says, but you really wanted him purple? I said, yeah. He says, you'll have to pay me in advance because no one else is going to buy this if you don't.
Yeah.
And so I paid him in advance. We did the first fitting right there. He said, come back in 40 minutes. Came back 40 minutes later, and the suit was all rough stitched. And I was like, that's insane. And he said, you pay the final deposit because I paid about 80%. So I paid the last. And he said, tell me what hotel. I said, I'm at the Princess Hotel. And he said, what's the room number? And I told him. And off I went to do the TV show. It was an exhausting day. Didn't even think about it. Went to my hotel and walked in. And my suits were all laying on the bed. They delivered them all dry clean. The silk ties made, the shirts, the lining in the pants, everything. I'm looking going, oh, I thought it was a con, but I had the most. Yeah, it was.
What a great story.
It was beyond cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, have you attended TRICS very often?
I've only been once before, 2014. So it's been 9 years since I've been here.
I was going to say I've been the last few, but I haven't seen you here.
Yeah, I was here when it used to be the dealer's room used to be the showroom.
Okay.
So it's expanded quite a lot.
A little bit. I was
Scott
just talking
really knows how to put together a show, though.
I think there are close to 200 people here this year.
That's crazy cool.
Yeah, that's what Tiffany had said. I haven't talked to Scott to get the numbers yet, but that is great.
Outstanding.
You come every once in a while too, don't you?
No, this is my first time.
No way. I thought I've sure seen you here before.
No, you
I guess just I see you everywhere else.
Convention.
Right after this, we go to PCAM. So it's like we're doing the Chicago and then the PCAM.
Okay.
Because we got this magic convention thing down now. We've figured out that we're addicted.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
This is our vacation.
This is my 12th one this year.
12th one.
Yeah.
That's
Probably
outstanding.
not as many as you. How many?
No. You were way ahead of us at 12.
Okay.
I got the hidden wonders. I'm
I know.
kind
You
of
got your own
grounded
club.
there.
You got it. Yeah.
But to take off a weekend is really expensive for me now, and we decided we'd have a 2-week staff vacation.
I see you got
Gabriella,
your
Billy,
special
Alex.
Hidden Wonders jacket even.
Do.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to take a picture of that.
It's
Put that.
nice, huh?
So go to the website, themagicwordpodcast.com. Look at this picture I'm going to take of Shawn and his jacket. Awesome.
They're beautiful. I gave them to all my staff. So my entire team, Billy, Gabriella, Alex, we all have the T-shirts. Lori, Hannah. We wanted a nice jacket. This is winter melting, It feels like a college that I didn't go to.
I've got one similar that is for Monday Night Magic when I work there that, they only give these also to certain people,
Oh, really?
I guess. Yeah, it's
I
kind
didn't
of cool.
get one. I've done Monday Night Magic a number of times. I'll mention that to Michael Schuck the next time I see him.
So I'm sure you're looking forward to this. What is it that, and I'm going to wrap this up over here, Billy, what is it that brought you here aside from the airplane? I mean,
So I was supposed to be here last year, but it didn't work out because I got an offer to go to Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to that and disappointed Tiffany, and I was like, okay, I'll come this year and just try and figure out the timings. And Shawn was like, oh yeah, we're taking staff vacation. I'm like, well, this works out. All right, I'll be here.
yeah.
So now I'm here.
Here you are. I hope you have a good time. I have to say, I know you will. This is just an awesome convention. I think against my third. I love it. One of the reasons I'm here was I would have come anyhow, but I did win the golden ticket last year.
Ooh,
so I got
really?
It's a long story, but I'll have to show it to you. But anyhow, thank you very much, Billy Hsueh, and then Shawn Farquhar. Congratulations again, my friend.
Thanks.
So, the Magic Word Podcast, Scotty out. I know as we're going to be going around throughout this convention over the next few days, I'm going to be running into a lot of friends and also making some new ones while I'm here. And one of the people that I spoke with recently when we were at Myrtle Beach just a couple of weeks ago is Marv Leventhal, and he's here again. Then, hey, Marv.
Yeah, the one magician nobody really cares to hear about anymore.
But you have so much
Oh, I
information.
do. And I've gotten together with my former partner Dan Harlan a couple times the past couple weeks to chit-chat about different things. And
It's kind of nice to make that reconnection when you're at Myrtle Beach, I'm sure.
yes,
too.
it is. I love connecting in Myrtle Beach.
He doesn't always come to conventions all the time.
No, he does not. And he lives in Raleigh down here in that area, but he was a performer in Myrtle Beach, did an excellent job. I happened to see him last week at Penguin Magic Theater, and he did his Halloween family show there. Very nice. He does
And he
a real
also
nice
last
job.
year was one of the guests here, as I recall, too. He was one of the performers.
Yes, he was one of the performers on the bill last year.
With the Magic Word Podcast, it's not one that is typically known for giving topical news because I want this to be pretty much timeless. So when you go back in the archives, you can listen to our talks we have with people in which they are discussing things that are just as relevant 5 years from now, hopefully, as they are then today. But when I'm at conventions, things are timely and things happen in real time. And one of the things that is current that some people know about, most people know about, but those of you magicians around the world who have not yet heard that Tom Craven, who is a well-loved Mr. Nice Guy of magic, basically is in hospice and not doing well. Well, Marv in Ohio can kind of bring us up to date on what's going on.
Right. Today being October 2nd.
November 2nd.
November, and it's last month it was October 2nd. This month it's November 2nd. And about a week ago, people told me, I talked to Tom's brother and sister. They said one day he was like driving the car, and the next day he just started to go downhill. I don't want to say too much other than about Tom's condition. I know he has some kidney issues, and his kidney function has been dwindling, which I think has led him to this point. About a week ago, he went into hospice. Tom is from Kent, Ohio. He's at hospice in Medina. I live about 20 minutes north of there. So yesterday, I took the opportunity to drop in on him. And he is basically, I would say, looking pretty comfortable. His appetite has dwindled a little bit, although he was still eating some. And when I visited him, he was pretty tired or sleepy most of the time. You know, you would touch his hand or whatever, and he'd wake up for a few seconds, kind of acknowledge that you were there. So I think he knew that I came to visit him.
But he really wasn't carrying on a conversation with you.
He's not conversational at all. I mean, they're hardly talking. And it just so happens like today is his birthday. He would have been, not would have been, he is 89 today. Hard to believe. I mean, I know Tom was not expecting when this was going to happen. He knew this was going to happen.
His wife passed a year ago?
Right, his wife passed a year ago. My understanding was he was scheduled to do kidney dialysis because he wanted to be able to take care of her. She had some memory issues as she went on. So he had not wanted to do that, but he was going to do it for her benefit. When she passed away, he decided not to go on it and let the disease kind of run its course. So there have been several people, and Tom was a member of every club in the area, Youngstown, Canton. He'd come to Cleveland once in a while. He was a member of the Akron Club. And a lot of people from all those clubs have come to see him, knowing it was his birthday. I know one of the guys that's in the Akron Club visited him today. I got a message, brought his guitar with him, and actually sang Happy Birthday by the guitar, and all the relatives that were there and everything kind of joined in. Tom's kind of popular in the facility there because all these magicians visiting him, all the nurses and stuff finding that there's magicians wandering through, want to see a trick.
Yeah.
So a lot of visitors are doing that.
So as ill as he is there some place where people can send cards, letters, emails, or do you have an address that... I've had some people who have said we'd like to reach out and talk with him, but it sounds like he's really not going to be able to carry on a conversation over the phone or anything.
No, that's actually true. I don't think calling him on the phone would be something you would like to do. However,
the family might like to hear from him. Hear from you.
I think they appreciate all the magicians coming. I know there's a magic night in Akron that happens once a month, and Tom came to one of those. I think it was the last time he was at it. I happened to be the MC of the show that night. People took pictures, and there's a group picture of all the people that were at the show that night, and it had Tom in it. And they brought that picture to him when they visited there. So there's a lot of little mementos like that.
In his room.
You know, I think if you were to write him, and I'll try to look at this if I don't get it in the audio part of the podcast.
Well, let me just pause this for just a minute and give you a chance to
let me take a look.
Okay. All right, here we go. What have you got?
Here we go, I'm back. It is hospice care. I'm not fully aware of the name of the facility, but I'm sure if you address it to Tom Craven, the address is 5075 Windfall Road, and that's in Medina, Ohio. I do not currently have the zip code. I think the name of the place is Windfall Hospice.
Okay, is that all one word, Glenn?
Windfall, yes, Windfall is one word.
G-W-Y?
W-I-N-D-F-A-L-L. I think the type of thing that the family appreciates is not only whatever your wishes are for Tom, but if you say, oh yeah, I bought this trick way back when and I've been doing it ever since. If you have a trick of Tom's that you do and you relate that, you know, he was one of your first mentors or the guy that helped you want to learn more about magic, don't lie.
Right.
But that's the type of thing they like to see. It lets them know how much he meant to you.
And I'll tell you what, listeners, if I was contacted also by somebody saying the family would like to have some video also of some of the magicians doing Tom's tricks.
Right.
So if any of you want to take a few moments and just record this, if you will, just in landscape, and then send it to me, that's Scott at themagicwordpodcast.com. I'll be sure to send it on to the family.
And not just only videos. If you have a picture you took with Tom sometime in the past at a convention or wherever, send that along too. All those things are greatly appreciated. I can't tell you how long, Tom is going to hang on. Today, to me, although he is a little skinnier because he hasn't been eating as well, visually, although a little gaunt, he doesn't look, emaciated or anything like that you associate with a person like that. So I think you might have a little bit of time to get these out to him. Don't say, it's too late. It's far from too late. And regardless, the family will more than appreciate any correspondence you send to him.
Yeah, and I imagine something that might be put together for a video for a Celebration of Life service, perhaps somewhere down the road, too.
The other thing, I believe Tom Craven's email, I assume his family has been checking his email. I'll look that up. I believe it is Tom Craven at VIP Magic.
I think you're right.
.com. I will double check that real quick. Yes. VIP Magic, all one word, at AOL.com. That's the actual address.
VIP Magic at AOL.com.
Correct. So again, whatever you send, whether it be digitally or old-fashioned snail mail, I'm sure the family would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Marv, very much. Appreciate the update.
You're most welcome.
I wish the best for Tom.
Yes.
It happened when you go and see him again. Yeah.
Tom was one of my original mentors. Tom was one of the first known magicians I probably met. I remember the days early. If Tom didn't know you were a magician or really into doing it, he wouldn't show you how the trick works.
Yeah.
He'd let you stew on it a couple weeks before, and then he'd see if you kept asking or kept seeing him again, he would take you into his confidence a little bit and coach you along.
That's kind of old school.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And he was also the last of the attendees at the 4F convention who had never missed since number one. He had made all 50 of them.
Right. There's been 50 4F conventions, Vector Finger Flicking Frolic, and Tom was there from the very first one to the...
They gave him a VIP award there, too.
Yes, they did.
Right. Well, thank you, Marv, very much. Appreciate that.
All right, I'll try to shut up now.
No, the Magic Word Podcast. That was Marv Leventhal. Scotty out. Good morning. This is day one, actually day two, officially, I guess, but it's the first official full day of convention events. And we are here at kind of breakfast-ish, I guess. It's breakfast hour-ish, but it's almost 10 o'clock. So I'm here with John Wolfe and Coll Purnell. Hey, John.
How are you, Scott?
Good and to Kyle?
See you. Hey, you're doing well. That's a lot of issues.
Issues, that's true. It is. So I wanted just to quickly discuss then last night, for the opening night, we had two lectures, the Kayla Drescher and then David Jonathan. Any comments?
I loved both of them. I loved Kayla's sharing her experience. She had a lot of wisdom that she's gained through years of performing in the real tough world. Mm-hmm. And that was really interesting. And the second Jonathan, his methods were really fun to watch.
Yeah, Kyle?
Yeah, so I didn't...
As a creator, I kind of want to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't get a chance to see Kayla's. I did get a chance to see her perform. I did get a chance to see her perform a few months ago at the Chicago Magic Lounge, which is great. But I didn't.
What is she like in her own element?
It's really she's very relaxed.
Oh, okay.
Really relaxed, and you can clearly see she's a seasoned pro. Mm-hmm. So David Jonathan, I did get to see his lecture, and he's so cool because we kind of rose to prominence at the same time.
Yeah, kind of during COVID or so-ish.
Exactly. And so I'm a good friend with him, and so we got to, so we Zoom fairly frequently, and we get to, encourage each other as we both grew and both released stuff. So it was really cool to see his actual lecture. I've never actually seen his full lecture live before, and it was really cool to see him in his element and actually and absolutely slay a room of magicians with really clever methods. My favorite thing that was and still is my favorite thing is that three-sum effect of that impromptu kind of card number thing.
Right. It's a shuffle deck and everything.
Shuffle deck in use. Completely baffling. No one would ever discover the secret of that effect.
I wouldn't say that it's a simple trick, but once you got it down and you have the numbering system, again, the basics of it are that a deck is shuffled, 3 cards are randomly selected, and the addition of those cards come down to their selected card.
To the position of their selected card, yeah. It takes a little work to learn, but it's very easy to do in real time.
It was a killer. I like the idea then of the... rough cards that he had.
The color sync.
Color sync. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's also a really, really clever thing. It's especially a really good thing if you're in like a formal close-up thing because you have a lot of space to put down stuff. You got a soft surface that allows the method to work flawlessly. I really like it. But he also has a really nice in-the-hands version of it, too.
Now, since we talked last year, I know you've been coming up with some new ideas. You constantly do. You were showing me something last evening that kind of blew me away, and John Allen was watching it as well. Got some cool ideas. Are other things as well?
There's always other things.
You got new lecture notes?
I don't have new notes, but I will tell you that I will be lecturing at Blackpool this year.
Awesome.
So
okay.
I don't know if you or your listeners...
So a shout out. So you might say, come on, guys, come and see him. That's horrible. I don't know what accent that was.
So that'll be fun. So if you have any listeners who are going to be there, I'd love to meet up with them then.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do have a lot of people from the UK who listen, and I would recommend to go to Coll Purnell because some of you might be saying, I don't know who this guy is. I know who John Archer is, but I don't know Kyle or whatever. It's like, you will be sorry if you don't go hear him. Just take it from this podcast. I think you should go and listen. And if you're curious, then you can go back and listen to the podcast that Kyle and I did. I think I recorded earlier this year or last year.
We did it. We recorded it in Magi Fest. I think it came out in like March or something.
Yeah, it was this year?
Yeah, it was this year.
Yeah. So, it's been a busy year. John, how about for you? What are you looking forward to today, to seeing or hearing?
I'm looking forward to everything. Yesterday we only had 2 lectures that started in the evening, but we were here all day watching a bunch of really talented, innovative people share ideas. And you can't help but learn as much from your peers as you do from the formal lectures. And to me, the energy that people kind of share during these informal sessions is really, it just gets the juices flowing as far as your magic.
I have to agree with you, regardless of age. I mean, young and old alike, there are a lot of people who are sharing and are out there. This is one of the more sessioning types of conventions I think I attend.
Yes, I agree. And I like the dealer's room. I love getting books, and Dawn is here with a great selection of books. And that's always a highlight for me as well.
It is a small group. What do they got, about 8, 12 dealers in there?
Yeah, I at most.
Which is about right, I think, for a smaller convention like this. I've not heard. Have you heard, Kyle, about how many people are here this year?
I've heard the number 150 thrown around. I'm not sure how accurate that is.
That's about what I've heard. I've got to talk with Scott and get some details on that. Well, anyhow, good seeing you guys, and thank you very much for your time, and I hope you continue to enjoy the conventions. You're not on the bill or anything, right?
I'm not. I'm just here to enjoy, and so far I am.
Okay, so with the Magic Word Podcast, that was Coll Purnell and John Wolfe. Scotty out. Thanks. Well, this is the beginning of the first full day, as I said a while ago, when we were just chatting with John and Kyle.
Whoever it was.
Sorry, I'm talking to so many different people this morning. So now I'm here with the organizer, the guy who had the Grand Poobah himself, Scott Robbins. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So we were talking, Charlie Randall and others, you were saying this is the, what number, 14?
14.
14,
yeah.
Okay. And every year you have a different color T-shirt.
We do.
And this year it's green?
It's green with gold, so it's kind of that Ernest, expert at the card table.
Kind of like that?
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, exactly. So that's what it is this year.
I mean, you're going to run out of colors from the rainbow, I think.
Yeah, we are. We were
recycle.
this close to magenta this year. So
Is that the original one? You're going to start recycling colors? Or?
probably have to, right?
Well, you never had a Paisley T-shirt.
We haven't. I have plenty.
Paisley cards.
We've had Paisley cards. Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of which, you have new cards this year.
We don't.
Really? Okay.
No, we don't. Chris does.
Okay, well,
the guy that makes our card. Yeah.
Okay.
Chris has
in the
new
dealer's
cards.
room.
Yeah, in the dealer's room.
Okay. How many dealers are there? About 8?
9.
9. Okay.
Yep.
And registrants, about 150 people or so?
152, I think. Officially.
This room seats what?
We can get about 175 in here.
Okay. So the public show is going to be just
But what
Saturday
happens is a lot of the people will go out there outside. Yeah. We have space outside, like Vectors.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are asked to sit out there on the last night because you have.
Yeah, this is like the most boring interview ever, I think. I think this is the most boring. So what did you think about the show last night?
I thought it was fantastic. First of all, I thought it was a good kickoff, with Kayla.
Yeah.
Because she gave some great experiences. Charlie and I were just talking about, I can't believe that there were that many questions about a bottle cap.
Yeah. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot of questions about a spellbound move.
Yeah. To a bunch of close-up guys.
Yeah.
The spellbound move.
Yeah.
And so, but...
Well, she did it lovely, so I think that's what it was.
It was,
yeah.
And then the PowerPoint that she showed after that. And then, of course, the David Jonathan lecture was fantastic. Cool. I thought the tips that he gave, I really loved the thing with the opening one with the roughing stick that he had used over there.
Yeah, the color match routine.
A lot of that I had seen on his Zoom lecture when he had done before, but it's good to see him live.
Yeah. He was great. And,
this morning is Blake.
Blake Voigt is next,
right,
and then we have Eric Jones, I think, and then I forget what.
Oh, right there it is. It's John Armstrong.
John Armstrong. This is crazy. Insights.
What are Insights going to be?
Insights is, you know what it is, but I'll explain to everyone else. Yeah. So it's like Magic TED Talks, non-method related talks on things, and let's see some of the highlights. One of them is going to be on how to do close-up magic for 5,000 people, so how to use a camera in close-up magic.
Okay.
That will be cool.
Who's doing that?
Kayla's doing that because she was on the Champions of Magic.
Oh, Champions?
Yeah, Champions of Magic show. So she's going to be doing that. Blake and Danny are talking about consulting for Vegas shows.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. Shawn Farquhar is going to be talking about opening a magic venue, which is kind of cool.
Sure.
And then I have one more.
Surprise.
And who is it? Gosh, I hate getting older. It's Eric Jones talking about his AGT experience. Yeah. Thank you. Joseph Daniels here, who hosts Insight, so I guess I should have asked him who it was. It's always fun. So.
And then tomorrow you're going to be having some more people that are going to be coming. Zabrecki's going to be
Zabrecki's going to be here.
And of course, Danny Garcia.
John Allen and Danny Garcia.
So. And of course, our guest of honor, Shawn Farquhar.
Yeah. And then this year we're having 2 shows. So we have a show tonight and tomorrow night. So
every year I wonder how you're going to top it.
I don't have any idea.
You don't even think about the next year, do you?
I've already started working on next year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I try to book about a year and a half, 2 years in advance for certain people, right? And then I fill in as I go. But by February, I'll have it done. So.
Well, this is a great time of year. The only problem is obviously it's conflicting with the Daytona Magic Convention.
Yeah, every year.
Like Boris is featured down there, so he couldn't come here.
Yeah, he should be ashamed of himself.
So he just sent Tiffany.
Even his wife said he should be ashamed of himself.
But it is a great convention for those people who are interested in close-up at all. This is the one to come to. I mean, Vectors is an invitation only, but this is something that's open. But it
feels a lot like Vectors. I think.
It does feel a lot like Vectors.
Yeah.
It's giving me goosebumps just thinking about that. But you're exactly right, Scott. That it has that same kind of feel of camaraderie, and I've seeing the same people who only come to this convention. It seems like, and the session that goes on all night long.
Yeah. And the situation is perfect for sessioning. It's
It's a good restaurant. They could use another bartender.
They'll have one tonight.
Okay.
All right. They will have one tonight. So.
I was lucky to get just one martini last night.
Oh, no. We got to take care of that. That's how they make their money. So.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, Scott, I know you got a lot of things. We'll talk about this
Let's
after
talk about
the
it later.
convention's over.
Right.
So the Magic Word Podcast. That was Scott Robinson. Scotty out. Well, one of the people who Scott had just talked about, who is going to be hosting the Insights this afternoon, is sitting next to me right now. That's Joe Daniels. Hey there, Joe.
Good to see you, Scott.
And you as well, as always. It seems like this and a couple of bizarre or storytelling things are the only things that I get to see you at each year.
Unfortunately. But, man, you're well-traveled. I've followed you all over the world.
Pretty much. I've got a few thousand miles of frequent flyer miles and driving miles, and also. Speaking of seance and everything, that this year, of course, they didn't have Poe's Magic Symposium or conference, but they're going to be postponing that till next March.
That's what Vince tells me, and they have the same lineup. It's a wonderful group of people, but they had to move it to this coming March. They had some issues that arose with the hotel.
Yep, I remember that was a problem. So it's going to be, I think, over the same weekend as the St. Patrick's Day or something. I think it's around the 17th.
Right. I believe so. Yeah.
So this convention, you're going to be hosting, as you always do, for Insights. And as Scott was kind of explaining, those are kind of like TED Talk type of things. And so explain how you host this.
Well, my role is, and I'm dating myself here, is a lot like Phil Donahue. I usually am dashing...
Phil who? Yeah. And for those people overseas, by the way, it's a TV host, yeah.
He was known for dashing around the audience with a microphone, taking people's questions, and maybe adding a few of his own. And I have done deep dive research into all the people that are attending, and if we don't have really credible questions coming from the audience, I'm going to make sure that they get to talk around their point well by what I throw them.
So it's not really a TED Talk from the standpoint that they are chatting about some subject that they are an expert in, but it's more like they will say a little bit about it, and you'll introduce them as that way, and then open the questions to that person or to the panel at the end.
Well, it's the final wrap-up with the questions is the panel at the end, but we have each of them deliver a talk, and then immediately after everyone has presented their talk, we gather the panel, and then the audience usually, you'll see a clear favorite. It always emerges, no matter how brilliant they are. And this year we are blessed with having a lot of top-notch talent, so it'll be a difficult call.
And a good variety, too, of topics they're covering.
We are.
Scott just said.
Yeah, we've got everything from consulting for Vegas shows to a run on AGT to how to perform close-up for thousands. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a diverse group.
And you have been attending how many of these? Scott was saying this is the 14th of these. Have you been since the first one?
I have been since before Scott took over the convention.
Okay. What was it before?
It was called the East Coast Super Sessions, and the first one was in Hickory, and I was there for that. And then
is Hickory next to Dickory?
No, unfortunately.
I didn't know Doc where it was.
Well, there was a Doc involved, Doc Doherty, but we did East Coast Super Sessions, and then it moved here to Charlotte, and that's where Chaston Criswell christened it the Carolina Close-Up Convention Tri-Cs, which is where TRICS comes from. Mm-hmm. And Chaston ran that for 2 years before Scott took over, and for the last 14 years I've been one of the consultants and producers on the show.
You're really behind the scenes, in which, I mean, you're giving people rides back and forth to the airport, and you're picking up this or that, or somebody needs some paper or pencils. I mean, you run out and get whatever's necessary. You're really the person behind the person.
Well, I'm Scott's slave is essentially what they've told me, yes.
Of a little thing, everything that you've been doing. Well, I'm glad that you helped keep this together, because it is an awesome time. I really suggest that anybody who hasn't been to this convention consider registering again for next year, because they do have a limited space only, so be sure to register early and register often.
Absolutely, and early is important. This year we had to turn down about 62 people, and that really hurts, but to keep it the intimate family affair that it is, we try and keep our numbers slim.
It may actually turn out to be something like the 4F convention, because that started out open, but then before long, because of limited space, they just said, okay, well, it's going to be limited to the people that we invite, and I could see that happening here. That's
definitely the trend, and this hotel is about to undergo a $6 million renovation.
Oh my.
So we're hoping at the very least they can put in one more men's bathroom, because that becomes very difficult at a Magic convention.
That's funny but true. And if they do that, will that expand this size room, you think? Or?
Scott was just talking to them about that, and the new company, Marriott, they have certain limitations, but they have talked about extending this room by several feet if it falls within their zoning code to allow them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like that Scott's got a microphone. He's getting ready to introduce our first one up here. Blake Vaught's going to be teaching us some amazing stuff here this morning. So we probably had to split a bill. I see he's got some stuff over there and some rubber cement, so he's going to be talking about some splitting stuff. Joe, thanks very much again.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming, Scott.
You bet, for the Magic Word Podcast. That was Joe Daniels. Scotty out. Yesterday we were talking with Marv Leventhal about the status of Tom Craven and what a difference a day makes. And we were just sitting here, Roy and I talking, who is another person who attends the 4F convention each year, and we see each other out in Buffalo, and he had just read something about Tom. What did you hear?
Well, Scott, it was before COVID. We were at 4F. There was a breakout of sessions, and Tom and I were sitting down talking. And he was talking about his health, and he had said that his kidney was starting to fail on him, and he talked to his doctor about it, and the doctor said that there's a good probability he would need to go on to dialysis. And Tom said to the doctor, "Well, I don't think I want to do that." And the doctor said, "Well, you're probably going to need to." He said, "Well, what will happen if I don't?" He says, "Well, the doctor told him every day you would feel more and more tired, and then one day you would go to bed and you would not wake up." And Tom seemed to feel comfortable with that, but that's what he shared with me.
Yeah. And then just this morning that, or just where we sat down, you were just looking at Facebook and...
Yeah, I saw Jimmy C. had posted... that God bless Tom had passed on.
Yeah. He was Mr. Nice Guy, and we all miss him. We knew this was kind of imminent, but I didn't realize, gosh, I said what a difference a day makes. Just within 24 hours ago when I was talking to Marv Leventhal about this, and he was talking about how ill he was and kind of his time was limited, and so here we go.
Yeah, and I think he's the last person who attended all 50 sessions of Vectors. So the real legacy
Not ever
there.
missing anything.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, thank you, Roy. Yeah, it's a difficult time for all of us, who are friends and his family and everybody. And so we had mentioned yesterday that if you have some memory that you want to send, I'm sure the family is monitoring his email, which I believe is vipmagic@aol.com, that you can send some comments, or if you want to send a video of you performing something, I'm sure the family would like to see that if you're performing one of Tom's tricks or something. So anyhow, Roy, thanks.
And it makes me want to go back and revisit his book, 50 Years of Magic, which I have in my library. So I'll go back home tonight and whatever, take a look.
Good stuff. 50 Years of Magic, that's right, by Tom Craven. All right, that was Roy Eidem. Scotty out. This convention, as Scott Robinson had said, is fairly intimate, and there is only so much room for so many people to attend. So we still do get people who are first-timers, obviously, and I got with me today two different guys who are first-timers. Here's Chris Sharp. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Fantastic. And Robert Sands. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. So I want to tell me, why did you come, Robert? There's so many other conventions. I mean, what's your reason for coming to this one?
Oh, the lineup, and I've heard good things about it, so and I wanted to see it for myself. So.
And how far do you live from here?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, so you drove up. It's what, about 4 hours?
Yeah, we drove. It was, the way Dave drives, 6, 8 hours, almost 8.
All right, Chris, what about you? Why did you come for this?
I've been to smaller conventions before, but not lately. And so I was complaining about you said intimate feel of it to Eric Casey, actually. And then he said, why don't you join us? Yeah. And so I took his advice, and here I am.
Yeah, Eric Casey recommended this.
Okay. And how far do you live from here?
Also in Jacksonville.
Oh, you're in Jacksonville. Oh, you drove together. Okay. And so you said there was someone else who had come up with you as well?
There he is.
And so David Coll.
Yes.
And hi. So you were the driver. You came from Jacksonville. You've been here before then, I guess?
No, I have not.
This is your first time. So why did you decide to come up?
Actually, Eric Casey recommended it.
There you go. That's just what these gentlemen said then as well. So let me ask each of you in turn then. Eric, what have you enjoyed? Or David, sorry. We just had Eric Jones performing. What have you enjoyed so far that you've...
I love David Jonathan. I thought he was wonderful.
What?
I'd never seen him before. So.
Okay, was it overall or one particular trick you're going to take away from
just
that?
everything he did I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. Did you see him perform on Zoom, by the way, during COVID?
No,
okay.
I did not.
This is your first time you'd seen or heard of him?
It was, I think, the first time I ever heard of him.
Okay. What have you seen so far?
I'd have to agree with that just because I'm not familiar with his work, and so everything that I saw was new, whereas I love Eric teaching, but I have seen him before.
Yeah.
So, this lineup is fantastic.
Robert, how about you?
Oh, I just like the lineup. I like everything. I just like learning new things and stuff. So,
are you a coin or card guy, or close-up in general, or
a little bit of everything? I'm a kid's magician too, so.
Are you okay?
Yeah, so I like to broaden my everything.
Right. So, as a kid's magician, do you also do some like restaurant or strolling or anything for other parties as well?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I've done a couple of Chick-fil-A's, Mexican restaurants.
Right.
What else? A couple other ones.
How about you guys, Chris?
Mainly stage, but not lately.
Okay.
So,
why not lately?
I used to have a company. We produced our own shows, and then the pandemic did us in.
Yeah.
And I just
hadn't recovered since then.
Right. Trying to get back on track, and now bringing it to the conventions.
David, how about you?
And I'm an amateur, lifelong amateur.
Do you ever do any shows or just perform for your family and
friends? Yeah.
Office employees?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Do you have any aspirations for working in a restaurant or something?
That would be great, but I've just never really
pursued
it. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you're enjoying your first time then as well. Good to glad you guys all came up. Drive safely. I understand you are a safe driver, from what Robert said. Okay, thank you. So that was David, Chris, and Robert. Thank you guys very much. This is Scotty out. We just finished the first full day of day one. There have been a lot of activities and things we've been doing, and I haven't had a chance really to get caught up on all that with different people I've been talking with today. I've actually been talking with some other people that you'll be hearing in some upcoming podcast episodes. They'll be exclusives. But in the meantime, I haven't been able to kind of do a rundown till right now. I'm here with my friend and yours, Mike Kaminskas. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Fantastic. Good to see you too, my friend. So you're going to be wanting to go maybe on a lecture tour. So people haven't seen you in a while.
Absolutely. It's been, 6 years since I've lectured?
It's been a little while, but you've been turning cups and things. You make cups and balls.
Absolutely. So the products are still there. Actually, we've got a lot of new stuff. I'm excited to go out there. I have a new book, actually 2 new books coming out.
You said the mini chop cup coming in?
I have a mini chop cup. I've got a book on the cups and balls coming out, and so I'm excited about what's happening this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year in 24.
Absolutely.
Well, talking about today, so we got the program over here in front of us. Going to do a quick rundown. We start out with Blake Voigt, and what'd you think of his lecture?
Okay, so Blake has been a good friend of mine for a long time.
Okay.
However, I've never seen him lecture, and
really?
It was absolutely amazing. I've used. If you see my stand-up show, you've probably seen 3 or 4 Blake Voigt items in it.
Okay, you guys are pretty close.
So so you see a lot of the material that he comes in and the influence, and seeing the thinking and how everything comes and his work behind is absolutely amazing. So I actually totally loved his lecture. It was fantastic. I was so glad to see it.
I remember hearing him lecture at Magic Live a few years ago, and he taught how to split a dollar bill. Amazing.
Exactly.
He didn't have time to do that today.
No, he did not. But he did manage to split a card in 18 seconds. So, that was pretty impressive as well.
Yeah. He said after about 10,000 cards, you can get to be pretty fast.
Yeah, I just send mine to Blake, and he does them for me.
And next we had...
Eric Jones.
That's right.
Eric was, I don't know how many people know this, but Eric was actually the creative consultant on my DVDs.
I did not know that.
So Eric and I, we toured the streets of Philadelphia, and he was behind the camera and directing everything.
Is he from Philly?
He is, yeah. So that's how I know Eric, and we've known each other for a long time. And, seeing him blossom and the stuff that I learned today, because I've known Eric, but I knew the old Eric. I haven't known Eric post, America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different thing to see where he came from and where he went.
It's funny you mention that, because when this afternoon he said, it's amazing to you folks because I've only been doing magic for 5 years, and all of us kind of look at each other and say, you've been doing this longer than that. He said, well, I've been performing for magicians and lecturing and doing stuff for 20 years, but as far as doing shows for human beings, audiences, paid audiences, it's only been the last 5 years, like you said, with AGT and others.
Right, and the thing is, being a creative force in magic and being a performer are two different things. Yeah. And Eric has always been a creative force in magic. He's come up with so many new novel effects and taken old ideas and transformed them into new ideas. But like he said, to take it from that to working a party in a house for 20 or 30 people to being on the biggest stage of 3,000 or 4,000 people and standing in front of them and doing the exact same thing, but now getting recognized for what he's doing and seeing it, it was really pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Garrett Thomas as far as his creativity and taking some of their older ideas and updating them.
Yeah, Garrett, another good friend. Garrett's, I love Garrett, and the same thing, and these are the guys that I go to, right? So these are the guys that you and all the other, if we have questions, we don't try and do it on our own.
Why should you? The wheel's already been invented.
Right. we have so many powerful people in our back pocket that we can just pull up and call any time. Why wouldn't we use that, right?
Well, when you got somebody like you were talking about, Blake Voigt, who's in your back pocket, and I've had Danny Garcia kind of in mind in a way, having brought up in Houston, because he is another one who was on here today, and he's helped me with some of my shows. I was going to Magic Castle, and he brushed it up and said, "Here, how about you do this and that?" It's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things the last time I lectured, which was for you, 6 years ago when I came through Texas, what I realized is that there is such a huge following of the Texas magic community. It is really big, and from Alex Rangel to everybody, and the support system that you guys have there is like no other in the United States. It's amazing.
I've heard other professionals who have said that, particularly about the Houston group, Texas in general, but Houston has been high on the radar. It seems like you guys know things. I don't have to say, do you understand a double lift, or what's your favorite method for getting a card to the top, or whatever. It's like, I got it.
I'm not wasting time explaining how to do an Elmsley count or a Jordan count or whatever. I just say, okay, you do a Jordan count, you do this, you do that, and everybody in the room nods their heads and moves on. So yes, I totally get it, because I can cover so much more material when I come there than I can in other cities. And it's absolutely amazing to see the knowledge base that exists there.
So who do we have next? Let's look at the program here.
So then we had John Armstrong, and John, as most of you know him, is a close-up magician. The tiny plunger guy. And John and I have gotten closer over the last few years. I've actually he's the booking guru out with the old Magicopolis, which is now, what is that, Randy Sennett's place, but it's fantastic. I performed there this past winter, and I love being out there, but he's transformed from a close-up guy into a stand-up and stage performer, and tonight I was blown away by what he had to bring to the table. It was
when he
great.
Performed that was kind of his cruise ship, part of his cruise ship act, because he taught part of that today at his lecture then too.
He did.
But I thought also it was interesting in his lecture of his journey, talking about going from close-up to parlor to platform to stage, and how
even taking standard fare that a close-up worker, the classic David Williamson, ring and rope routine, and updating it with a tie and a big, diamond engagement ring, and so I think those are not just novelty changes, but those are things that make it applicable to so many more people, right? So he does a lot of Disney Cruise Lines, him and Eric both. And so not only do they have to appeal to adults, they have to appeal to the younger masses as well.
Right, whole families.
Right.
Yeah, of all ages. Like you said, sometimes I got a lot of 3-year-olds even in the audience,
And I'm not sure what you do for 3-year-olds. I have no idea.
I don't know. So after John, we had...
so then we had a break. We had... Kayla Drescher came up, and the insight, she was talking about ways to talk to video recording and working for Champions of Magic and all that, and being on television, and
how do you make close up big, basically?
How do you make it big, right? How do you make it play to a camera rather than being because close-up is typically just an interaction-based medium, right? So how do you bridge that gap looking at a camera and make Crazy Man's Handcuffs play to 1,500 or 2,000 people?
Right.
And I thought it was very well done. All the points that she had to make in her lecture were fantastic. And I got to meet her for the first time this past summer. I was working at the Chicago Magic Lounge, and she was working behind the bar. And it was a fun time to watch. I love knowing these names and not meeting the people, and then when you do meet them and the first time you see them is performing, it really gives you a whole appreciation for who they are.
Yeah, it does. And then that was part of one of the insights, which they were doing like TED Talk type things that Joe Daniels was emceeing.
Right.
Remember who was next after Kayla?
So we had the Wonder Twin Powers. We had Joe Garcia and Danny Garcia and Blake Voigt. So they came out, and needless to say, I can't even explain what they talked about because I think they were on more tangents than they were on what they were talking about.
The point was they were supposed to be talking about consulting for Vegas and
I think the title of the TED Talk or Magic Talk was Vegas shows. However, what they really talked about was the every show is different, and you need to treat each consulting job as a different job.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's Copperfield or if it's David Blaine or if it's anybody else that they might be consulting for. And that's what I took away from it. I thought it was a really good talk. Again, when you get the message through the comedy, and with those two, you never stop laughing.
Yeah,
so
no, that's true.
And so trying to think who else was on the talks there. We had Eric. So yeah, and Shawn Farquhar came up and did a talk on opening a Magic venue, which was really something that I personally am very interested in doing. And you see these coming up a lot over the country in the last few years, where people are like opening their own Magic venues, and you don't have to be in necessarily a huge populated area. The numbers that Shawn threw out tonight were astronomical in terms of what the revenue is versus what his cost is. He put a lot of sweat equity into the building, but again, he backs it up with performance, and Shawn's performances are so deep and varied that he's able to perform, 400 or 500 shows without repeating the same show.
Right.
Which is huge testament to his skills.
Right.
And not many people can handle that.
Well, that's true also. I thought what was amazing is the takeaway was you don't have to be opening a venue in a statistically metropolitan area.
Right. So most people would think that for it to be successful, you need X amount of people in a viable community that has X amount of income dollars to spend,
right.
And that's not the case.
Tourist area.
Right. And what he said is less than 3%, he said, of all of his are tourists.
Yeah.
So he's basically performing repeat shows to the same clientele.
What do you say his clients are? I mean, the city's only about 70,000.
70,000, yeah. So it's not a huge place, but he's been able to make it work.
Yeah. He built it during COVID, and I say built it. He was buying things through Facebook Marketplace, saving money on all that.
And so watching that was honestly one of my favorite talks tonight. I truly enjoyed that. It was really good.
And then next, Eric Jones was talking about 2020 hindsight.
So Eric was again recapping his rise to where he is in the Magic world today. Saying that he's only been performing Magic for 5 years is true, but not true.
Yeah.
So
he said I'm an extroverted introvert or something.
Yeah, and I thought that was an interesting comment. So he's like, I'm an extrovert. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Having known him for 25 years, I can see exactly what he's talking about there. I remember when he was this little kid from Philadelphia, and we just kind of rubbed shoulders and stuff. But obviously his talent speaks for itself.
Right.
He's not taken that talent now and has become a performer. And there's a big difference between being able to be a creator and somebody that can actually take it to the stage and bring the applause.
That's right. So next, after the insights, is that when we went to dinner? And then,
Yep.
Okay, and then came back for the evening show, which was fantastic.
And then the evening show tonight was amazing.
Started off with John Armstrong.
Normally we wouldn't even have an evening show tonight.
Yeah.
But
it's one of the first times they've had a public show.
I don't think we've ever had a public show on a Friday.
Yeah, right.
So normally this would be just filled with more lectures and stuff, but there is so much talent here this year that Scott's like, I overbooked. And I was just like, well, you might have said you overbooked, but this is an absolutely amazing evening, and this is actually one of the best TRICS conventions I've been to.
Yeah, and you've been to how many?
quite a few at this point.
I was going to say, this is number 14. You've probably been to more than a majority of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the higher side of the 14. But yeah, it's been great, and I love coming. It's more like family than it is a convention, so this is why I like it so much. It's not the biggest convention, but everybody knows each other. And so I walk in and I see people that I haven't seen literally for 5 years, because last year I was at Daytona Magic's convention, so I couldn't make it.
Right.
So I was already committed to perform down there for Harry. And I came back this year, and it was just like seeing cousins and family and friends that I haven't seen in a while.
And it is so much fun then also, because even right now, as we speak, they've got a pizza party going on. So
they do. So you can probably hear the commotion going on in the background. But, so we're missing out on this. Thank you, everybody, for But I appreciate it, and it's been a fantastic time. I look forward to it. If you guys get the chance, I'm definitely setting up a lecture tour with Scott here, so hopefully you guys can set me out.
That's right. Hopefully that you'll pick up Mike, because I highly recommend. It's a great lecture, a lot of really good stuff that you will use in your shows then as well. And it's not just something going, that's interesting. No, it's good, usable commercial stuff, because you do a lot of corporate work, and plus you can talk about turning your own cups and everything. As for the evening show, we'll discuss that tomorrow morning in the day 3. But I think it's probably about time maybe to hit the pizza place over there and see what's going on. Finish out the evening, and I'm going to go put this to bed. So I think for days 1 and 2, hope you guys have enjoyed this recap that we just had over here. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it a lot.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Thanks for having me.
You bet. For the Magic Word Podcast, that was Mike Kaminskas. Scotty out. And good night.